What up, YouTube? It's your boy Big Cool coming to you from Colossal Boxing Talking. I'm with a new member of CBT, all the way from New York. My boy Timothy Medina. Go and let the CBT fam know a little bit about yourself, bro.
Well, I'm the newest member of Colossal Boxing Talk. Surprisingly, I'm only 20 years old, turning 21 in August. But I love boxing. Like, I've been watching it ever since I was real little. And while other kids were playing outside, I was cooped up inside learning the history of boxing. That's what really intrigued me, man. I used to stay at home, go on YouTube, watch footage of Willie Pep, Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis, like stuff like that intrigued me. I really love the sweet science ever since I was little. So don't get it fucked up. Just because I'm 20 doesn't mean I won't school you.
Damn, well, I didn't know you was that young. He bumped me as the youngest guy in CBT. I'm about to be 26 in September, so shit, I feel old. But like I said, I'm glad to have him on. He's knowledgeable. He gonna teach me some shit. Hopefully, I teach him some stuff, and we can all, just bounce ideas and knowledge off each other. But talk that shit Thursdays. We're gonna try to bring you this segment every Thursday. Keyword try. If we're not together, he may bring it, himself or somebody else from CBT, or we might link up with one of the other guys we chop it up with on Facebook and boxing. So shout out to my boys from the movement, 2K, Bernard, Twine, Bo. You can shout out some people too. Chris. You got any people you want to shout out?
Oh, man, just shout out to Eastwick, man. We're a crazy bunch. You know what I'm saying? we all big family in there. Every time we talk, we're out of school in the casual, or we chopping it up on some real shit. That's what I'm all about. Just non-biased debates and just exchanging knowledge with one another. That's what it's really about. That's the beauty of boxing, man.
Exactly. Yep. And also shout out to my boys from CBT, Smooth Cat, JG. So without further ado, let's get into this Talk That Shit Thursday. We're gonna cover a bunch of topics, man. And man, you started off, man. Just what you want to talk about, man? What's really been getting your attention in boxing this week or over the last few weeks?
We were just talking about it. The whole Guillermo Rigondeaux and Vasil Lomachenko talks about Rigondeaux saying, "You know what? Fuck the catch weight. I'll meet you at 130. I'll call your bluff." That's what I want to talk about first.
And see, I didn't think this fight was possible, even though it's not signed, sealed, and delivered. Our boy Chris Henderson has been reporting that this fight has a very good chance of happening sometime later this year, probably November, December. And this is a boxing, dream matchup. Like me, I love all styles of boxing: the Floyds, the Rigondeaux, the Lomachenkos, to the Rioses, the Ward Gottis. I love it all. You know what I'm saying? But to see two Olympic gold medalists, two-time winning Olympic gold medalists in the ring, trying to outsmart and outslick and outbox the other, that is a fight fan's dream, because it's just skill at the highest level. That's a high skill chess match that I hope happens. And Rigondeaux has been talking some major shit.
Mm-hmm.
He just put out a post on Instagram saying that Lomachenko is trying to take flight to 135 in top ranking Lomachenko's court, because he said he will move up 8 pounds to accommodate Lomachenko. And when I heard that, I was happy, but I'm also kind of hesitant to how it would, go down for, Rigondeaux, who is a small guy. Well, he's 5'4", and I don't know how big he gets, when he's not fighting, but I imagine he's not no more than fighting weight, when he come, fight time. So what are your thoughts? What do you think about this back and forth through social media? And do you think they're going to actually fight this year?
I honestly do think, because of all the talks, I think it will happen this year. And it's really something that hardcore boxing fans have been craving for a long time. And I never understood why certain people were saying, "Oh, Rigondeaux didn't want the fight. He's ducking Lomachenko." That's not true. The hold up on the fight is with Bob Arum. Bob Arum is the one that said, "Oh, I would never throw money towards Guillermo Rigondeaux's way. He's the one that made the comments. The first time around, when they were trying to make the fight happen, um, the issue was weight. And Rigondeaux said, "Fine, I'll meet you at the 126 limit." But
Mm-hmm.
Lomachenko said, well, Lomachenko's team requested a rehydration clause. They couldn't rehydrate past a certain limit. And from Vasyl Lomachenko's mouth, he said, well, the issue actually also was there wasn't enough money on the table to give Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux wanted more than 500K because he made 750K fighting Onito Donaire. You know what I mean? So he was being
Mm-hmm.
lowballed in the offers. And honestly, you can't say that he doesn't deserve the money. You can't tell me that he doesn't deserve $1 million.
That's
You know what I'm
true.
saying? So I don't understand why people are saying that Rigondeaux ducked Lomachenko. That wasn't the case whatsoever. It was, it was just certain circumstances and just, certain games being played. But now Rigondeaux's just like, you know what? Screw it. I'll give into it. I'll go to 130 and I'll meet whatever demands. I don't care. Because Rigondeaux has to realize that he's only getting older, and Father Time, it beats everybody. And he hasn't had a notable win since Hisashi Yamagasa, and that was back in 2014. He needs something. It. He can't keep fighting the Drion Franciscos and um and the
Once the
Jaza
Floyd
Dickens.
is, you know.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's now or never. And if Lomachenko's talking about how he wants to go to 135, I think he's gonna go. He's gonna go out with his last fight at 130 against Guillermo Rigondeaux. So I think it's gonna happen.
I think so too. And Chris, he from Four Corners Boxing Talk. He said that they kind of putting out fillers to gauge the interest in, from the people in boxing to see how big this event could be, and that I guess that help determines the purses and everything else. I think that both guys should get $1 million. Bob Arum has the money. Now he's with ESPN. Now there's no excuse why that the fight shouldn't happen. I mean, put the ego to the side because you robbing boxing fans of not just this great matchup, but plenty others with Crawford and Heyman guys and whoever else that we want to see. So I think it's time to put the ego to the side. And another thing that Rigondeaux put out there was very interesting, and I never thought about it until I seen his tweet, is that destroyed and dominated, Nonito Donaire back when Nonito Donaire was looked at as unbeatable around his weight class. He just toyed with him. And Rigondeaux tweeted out that I toyed with his top cash cow and got, treated badly. Lomachenko does it, and it's I guess, and I mean,
Right? They put him on a silver platter.
exactly. And I don't know. I'd be hesitant to say stuff like this because I don't want to come off like I don't like Lomachenko, because I do. But if you dig deep in his resume, it's some good quality wins on there. But there's some guys that you could say, okay, a lot of other guys would have beat him too. I understand he fought Jason Sosa, but he fought Walters coming off of a year layoff. And we know why Walters was put on that layoff. Bob Arum made him pay for, I guess he wanted more money. And, Bob Arum didn't want to, pay for it until it came to the point where he just had to take whatever deal that was offered because he had a family to feed and, he got to, make a living. I think Lomachenko is a very good fighter, probably top 2 if we're going on skills. But I don't think his resume is as great as people want to make it out to see, seem. And I think they're trying to rush him to be the best fighter in the world because he beat Roman, Martinez, who was, with Salido. And, he wasn't the fighter that we're used to seeing back when he even fought Mikey Garcia a few years ago. So I think that while he had some good wins, I think people need to kind of pump the brakes on trying to anoint him that guy in boxing until he really proves it against a guy that's at least in their prime to kind of, say, okay, he fought a guy that was in his prime, even though he wasn't close to his skill set. It's rare to find that when you're talking about a Lomachenko or Rigondeaux. So I like Lomachenko. Think he will be a great fighter, but I think we need to kind of pump the brakes, let these fights materialize, and let these guys really, get in the ring before we start prematurely crowning such and such. But I will say this: if Rigondeaux does indeed go up to 130 and defeat, it's going to be hard for Ward to keep that spot, even though Ward is more accomplished. But to do that, but Ward got his own plan, so he could take it right back from Rigondeaux if that happens. Anything else you want to talk about on this subject before we head to the next one?
Honestly, man, just Rigondeaux really seems a lot more ballsy now. Like, I think he's really starting to see what he needs to do. You know, he realizes that he can't keep his mouth shut. You know, if you got all these other guys yapping, like, I don't know if you saw the interview with Leo Santa Cruz that he was talking about, and it was recent too. That he's like, oh yeah, the fight with Rigondeaux, I would love that fight, but you know what? It's a boring fight. You know, he doesn't give the fans what they want to see, and I'm like, come on, man, that's your daddy talking to you. You and your dad both know why you don't want that fight. It's not because it's a boring fight. It's because you don't see it as a winnable fight. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
A lot of these guys, they'll put on the whole, yeah, I'll fight them, but you know what? It's a boring fight. You know, why take that fight when I could give the fan, this is what they use, the fans. They cater to the fans, right? I'll give the fans a much more exciting fight with somebody else. You know, that's this.
Exactly.
But that's the only person that's not afraid to fight Guillermo Rigondeaux is Vasyl Lomachenko. So guess what? Rigondeaux's like, okay, you're the only one that's not afraid to fight me, so then let's get it on. That's why he's talking so much right now. And you know what? Rigondeaux's about that action. I don't think he's scared to fight Lomachenko whatsoever.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. Go ahead.
So that's why he's putting out these little cartoons with Lomachenko's head Photoshop. I remember there was one where Bob Arum was Lomachenko's dad.
Yeah.
Playing with a little play set. And he's like, no, son, play with this. It's much less challenging and it'll make you look good. You know what I'm saying? So he was taking a shot at Vasyl Lomachenko's resume, and I love it. I love it. That's what he needs to do. That's what I wish he would have been doing. Make all these fighters that don't want to fight you look silly. That's what you got to do. Expose them. Because you got these fans that talking like, man, he's not worth the risk, and they don't get what it's about. It's about the best fighting the best. So you know what? If you make the best look cowardly, you might start to change some minds. And I'm glad Rigondeaux's doing this.
Exactly. And if he don't ever get the fights that he wants, if he's really, like I said, all he can do is attempt and agree, compromise. And if Lomachenko runs to 135, you can't say nothing. You can't say nothing about Rigondeaux. You can't say, well, you know, he didn't try to make the fight. He gave in. You know, they're gonna want him to give in on the money and the way he already gave you 8 pounds. You probably Lomachenko is gonna walk out first. He the champion. You know, he gonna have the fanfare and everybody gonna be on his side. So get a man the right money and make the fight happen, because now it's to the point now where the fight has to happen. It's gotten a lot of attention, and the fight has to happen. Simple as that. And hopefully we hear some news about it in the coming weeks, coming months, that, you know, they come to an agreement. Now we're gonna talk about Andre Ward, because I mentioned him. Now we all know I don't know how you seen the fight, but I had Ward up comfortably in the rematch. Just to me, he came out, you know, more energized, more focused, more loose. His movement was back. He was down 5-2. I could see him being up 5-2, 4-3. It was a close fight, but it was one that he was pulling away. And what do you think about that before we get into the whole controversy of the stoppage? How did you have it scored leading up to the 8th round?
Did you say that people had him down 5-2?
A lot of people. Letterman had him down 5-2 or 4-3.
Well, that's Howard Letterman.
And then I see it's a lot of credible people that I respect in boxing on my friends list that had him, you know, losing as well. So I don't know, man. I got 4 eyes, so I know what I was seeing.
I mean, I had Andre Ward up. I believe I had it 4-3 at the time. You know, it was close. Don't get me wrong. It was a close fight. Up until the last 2 rounds where Andre Ward started getting into a rhythm. And that's when he started really landing a lot of leather. And he started timing Kovalev really well, especially with the body shots, man. Like, I knew what Andre Ward was going to do coming into the fight. but I didn't think he was gonna pick up the timing on it so well the way he did. I thought Kovalev was gonna be a little bit tougher, you know. But I was really surprised with how well Andre Ward came into this fight. He is just one of those guys. Like the first time around, He capitalizes it on the second time around, and that's a testament to the greatness of Andre Ward and how he's one of the best at adjusting in the game. But I did have him up the first 4-3 in the second fight. It's not like the first fight where when the second half was coming, it's like, okay, Kovalev is definitely winning the first half of the fight. And then there's the knockdown. You know, Andre Ward really has to start stringing rounds together. It wasn't like that, especially as a guy that was rooting for Andre Ward in the second fight. I'm like, okay, I feel like he's up. And I know two of the judges had Andre Ward up as well going into the second half. So I wasn't so much on the edge of my seat, you know, like, oh, man, Andre Ward needs to do something, you know, like because I felt like he was winning. So that's just me, though.
Like same feeling. Like going into the first fight, man, I was standing up. Like I just stand up watching boxing, man, because it just has me on edge that much, especially for a matchup that we all been eager for. And I felt completely different going into the rematch than I did the first fight. Although I was more confident in Ward, you know, dominating the first fight, which I was wrong. After he got hurt, I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? But this fight, after the first round, I knew he had it. You know what I'm saying? I just knew that he wasn't gonna get caught with anything reckless. Like he said, leading up to the fight, his legs were back, and he displayed that. You know, he would feint, he would jab. He was really throwing shots up top. That right hand was a thing of beauty when he threw it in the rematch. And then the body shots, he was just digging. He was trying to break his ribs, man. I mean, and people don't pay attention. Even when he was, you know, standing, fighting, kind of square himself up, he was throwing the uppercut. He was on the ropes throwing the uppercut, and Kovalev had no answer for the inside fight. He did better than he did the first time because he did land his shots as well. But I don't know what happened to Kovalev, man. And I guess we all should have, you know, seen it coming because he did a whole lot of talking. And it was a total opposite, you know, the first fight. I guess once you get to know a person, you have to deal with them on a daily basis with negotiations and whatnot. You kind of see that you don't really like them. But if he would have just focused on training and not talk so much, I think he probably would have performed a little better. But, I mean, he started complaining about every shot that was questionable. I just knew that, you know, he wasn't really in there. He was in there to get a check and mentally, I guess he proved to be mentally weak. You know what I'm saying? And fucking Kathy Duva been fucking him out of his money, which say what you want to say about Sergey and his questionable comments. Go to work and, you know, especially in boxing, they deserve to get paid, you know, the right way. And I feel bad for the man, because he's been getting. And how the fuck you only negotiate that his purse is based off pay-per-view buys and all that when the fight wasn't even heavily promoted? I don't know, you know, where his mind was at with that, but he got himself, you know, fucked over on that.
Let me put something out there about his mentality coming into the fight. I don't know if you remember when the fight first got announced. Kovalev made a comment, I'm only going to train 2 hours a day leading up to the fight. And I'm like, man, he's bluffing. He's just talking shit like he's confident. He's not going to be training 2 hours a day. That's ridiculous when Andre Ward's going to be busting his ass in the gym. But then you start hearing more things from him. And his little Twitter rants, and you starting to think, Andre Ward's actually getting to him. He's already working himself up. And then you see 24/7, and he asks his trainer who he thinks won the fight the first time around. And I'm starting to think Kovalev is basically mentally beaten coming into this. I mean, he's going to come in with so much rage or
doubt,
confidence, something. But he's not mentally there 100%. Andre Ward hasn't beaten before the fight has even happened. And And I'm just really surprised because Kovalev struck me as a guy initially that was all about business. You know, once he stepped in the ring, he was 100% in there. He was an animal. Like the Bernard Hopkins fight, you could see the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a completely different animal than what stepped in the ring with Andre Ward the second time around. There was just a lack of focus. And then you see him complaining, like you said, about getting hit low constantly. That's a man that's just not focused. That's a man that his confidence is broken. You could tell as the fight unwinded, he wasn't all there. And honestly, I got to give Andre Ward credit. You can't shit on him. He did something that worked. It's mind games. I would do it. I know you would do it. You
Mm-hmm.
ask a lot of people, they would do it too. It's all psychological warfare. That's the name.
And the thing about it is, he didn't constantly say anything. Andre Ward, he would say little things here and there, but it wasn't every day. He wasn't tweeting. He wasn't on Twitter when he was supposed to be training. Oh, I'm gonna outbox this motherfucker. I'm gonna just make him look crazy. I'm gonna Sugar Ray Leonard him like he did Durant in the rematch. He didn't say none of that, but it's gonna be a different Andre Ward. He all the talking got to stop. You know, June 17th, he got to see me, but Sergey Kovalev made this too personal.
Yeah.
And I also heard that he was upset with his purse. I don't know how true that is, but I also heard that he was kind of angry at Kathy Duva. Um, you know, I guess when he found out what he would get making, I don't know if you find that out. I'm assuming you find it out when you sign the contract, but whatever reason he was angry about that, or maybe embarrassed when the purse thing came out and his shit was just blank. But whatever it is, man, he needs to. I don't think he needs to take a break. I don't know. Maybe he does need to take a break. He needs to regain. And whatever he does in between training, he needs to keep that shit at a minimum, because I also heard that, and Ward alluded to that the extracurricular activities he does that's outside of, the ring, which is he find to indulge in it if that's what he wants to do. But you're not gonna maintain longevity if you kind of abusing your body on top of getting abused in training and fights, if you drinking, smoking, whatever it is you don't need to be doing. So hopefully he can get his mind right. He's talking about maybe joining Virgil Hunter, depending on if Ward moves up or stays at light heavyweight. I just think he needs to get with somebody, man, and listen, be receptive. You can't train yourself, obviously, anymore. You got to the point, kudos to you, but now you need a teacher that's going to be able to teach you some new tricks to kind of elevate yourself and get yourself back into good graces with the people who hire on you. I still think he's a great fighter, and I say
Absolutely.
great. I think he's a great fighter, but he needs to kind of control that anger and just focus on improving the little things to make himself even better. So if he moves up to 200, cruiserweight, he's gonna really have to be on it mentally and physically, because he get the gassing against those big guys who is just a bigger puncher and physically strong. He won't go. He ain't got to worry about gassing out at the 6th or 8th round, because he gonna be on his ass looking up, seeing the stars, because these guys are talented, and that's probably the best division in boxing. So hopefully, Kovalev gets his shit together, and hopefully Ward, we see him in the ring sometime again early next year, because I doubt he returns this year, but well, he might return
I was,
this year.
I was gonna ask you a question, bro. Speaking of the fight,
Hmm.
speaking of talk that shit Thursdays,
Okay.
what do you feel about all the people that have been talking that shit to Tony Weeks?
Okay, I'm glad you said it, because I didn't really touch on this. I feel that it is tough being a referee.
Absolutely.
And when you see a guy who just pretty much gave up, he's submitted. He was sitting on it like he was taking a shit. He was squatting like, okay, I'm tired. It's like, and Ward did what we all would do. What they say, go to the body, the head will come. The head will
Mm-hmm.
fall. And if a guy is you going to the body, because we don't know what can happen. If you go, we seen guys go up top and get knocked out because they abandoned what they supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And Ward was just trying to tee off, trying to hit him. Ward could have just been hitting him in the head, but maybe he felt some mercy and just like, let me keep going to the body and forcing Tony Weeks to stop. But when you in the action like that, man, you're not really paying attention to where the shots are landing, because you see a guy who's just bent over, kind of
Right.
telling you, "Please save me from this ass whooping I'm receiving." Like I said, he is hard to fucking be a referee, man, because you got a lot of responsibility. You got to be able to right there the 10-second bells, because we seen what happened with the Rigondeaux Flores fight. Because so like that, you gonna get like the Darrell, what's the guy name? Ukatage. You're gonna get a result like this. So you got a lot of things going in your mind. Gotta be in right position. These guys already don't like each other, so you gotta kind of keep shit at a minimum and have them fight the legal way. And I think that Kovalev kind of put Weeks in a bad position, because he didn't show no fight. Instead of holding on, taking a knee, he just crouched over and allowed himself to be, I guess you want to say, a victim of a bad stoppage, if that's what you want to call it. But I think it was a good stoppage. Kovalev didn't complain about the fucking stoppage until somebody got in his ear and said, you need to say something, or, that was some bullshit. What do you think about it? I don't think it's fair, but what you think?
I don't think Tony Weeks should be getting all the shit that he is, because, like you said, one, it's hard in the midst of the action to tell whether a guy is really hurt or not. But instinct tells you when a guy isn't really responding that he is hurt. Kovalev was not responding. Okay? So that's why he made the call that he did. Now, this is where I believe it's Kovalev's fault. One, he didn't object to the stoppage. He didn't say, no, I could have still kept going. I was fine. He didn't do none of that. He didn't argue it whatsoever. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, you're right. He didn't say nothing.
He didn't take a knee. I saw a ridiculous comment, by the way. Oh, those Russian guys, they don't really know about... What do you mean they don't know about taking knees and stuff like that? Of course he knows. Of course he knows. How long has he been a pro? Of course he knows this. And naturally, if you feel like you're hurt, you're gonna take a knee regardless. That's something you don't have to know. Your body should just do it.
Or at least clinch. Or at least
Right. At least tie up. He didn't do anything. He just took it. And people could say what they want. Oh, well, Andre Ward wasn't really putting on an onslaught, and it wasn't a lethal onslaught. But he was still just landed constantly. He was landing flush. And guess what? Kovalev wasn't responding. Whether you thought it was lethal or not, Kovalev is still getting touched. And guess what? He's not letting his hands go, and he's hunched over as well. So what do you think Tony Weeks is gonna do? Stop the fight.
Do what anybody would do. Is like, because we done seen this time and time again. It's like, now referees have done some shit that make you questionable, like with the Shannon Briggs Vitaly Klitschko fight, where he just got beat on like he was a pinata.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But in different circumstances, not to steer away from the topic, but he was still standing upright. Still no excuse for not to call the fight, but you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. You know what I'm saying? In certain situations. And if he would have just let Ward just continue to tee off on him and beat the hell out of him, people would like, and if something happened to Kovalev, well, he should have stopped the fight. Now Kovalev is in a coma, and not going to be able to fight again, and, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, so you got to be mindful that although we would have loved to see Kovalev battle back and make it a fight. I mean, he got a family and a wife to go to. I mean, a son and a wife to go back home to. And what's the guy that's just, what's his name, Franco? Ward dedicated the victory to him. Look at, and then Pritchard Cologne. So we got to keep everything in mind. Like, as much as we want to see Rock'em Sock'em, battles and fighters be able to come back, some of these guys can't come back now. Their life will never be the same. So we got to appreciate it. Yep.
Shumanov just retired. He can't fight anymore because of his eye.
Yep. So I mean, and Kovalev is lucky Ward is who he is, because usually if it was Roy Jones or somebody else that just like clowning you and just kind of, man, Roy Jones would have hit that man with 20 punches, nuts, gut, head. It don't even matter. You know what I'm saying?
Everything.
And then what? You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I think it was a good stoppage, man. Because like you said, he didn't even clinch, bro. And the only guy I didn't really seen like take a knee that I remember is Timothy Bradley when he was fighting Kendall Hope. That motherfucker got hit with something. He got up and he said, "You know what? I ain't ready, so let me get my ass back down." So You got to be prepared, man. Even if you in the midst of battle, you got to always have your mind sharp to, if you hurt, take
Right.
a knee, clinch, do something. You know, hell, even spit the mouthpiece out so the referee
Right.
can,
Something
you
just
know,
to give yourself some time and recuperate. He didn't do that.
you know,
So if you're gonna
the
talk that shit to anybody, talk that shit to Kovalev. Your boy, if anything,
exactly.
he looked like he quit.
Yeah, he got bullied. He talked all that shit. It backfired. He was against a better guy, and you know, the rest is history, man. So what else we got on the agenda, man? We got Robert Easter. He's returning this weekend or tomorrow night to defend his IBF lightweight title against mandatory. Help me with the last name if you know it. Dennis. Is it Shiakov?
I think I'm not good with these names either, bro. I think it's Shiakov or something like that.
Man, what do you think about Shiakov, man? I know he's a tough Russian. Only has 2 defeats, hasn't been knocked out, and you know he got some solid power and has pretty good resume. What do you think of his chances going into this fight?
Um, I think he's gonna make it interesting for the first few rounds, but I think Robert Easter Jr. just being the much longer, taller fighter will start understanding the range, and I think he'll take over in the later half of the fight, and possibly get the stoppage. I really do think so. I don't know if you've seen the size difference, man.
Yeah,
He's just
Robert
towering
like
over
five
him.
eleven, right?
Yeah, he's just towering over him. He's not a he's a freak of a lightweight, man. If you really look at him, he's a freak.
And I'm high on Robert Easter Jr. I think this guy could be top pound for pound, at least in the discussion. He has everything. He has the power, the speed, the skills, the height, the reach. He has the charisma that you would want to market yourself off of. But some of the shit I do not like to see him do is he admires his work. When he's on the offensive, letting his hands go, he admires. Like he get caught in the days, his hands low, and he just admires that he just pieced up this guy. You know what I'm saying? And then when he retreats back to defensive mode, he has his hands down and his chin exposed. And Richard Comey in their fight made him pay for that. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
that was a fight that could have went either way. You know, that was a razor thin fight. And if be honest, if that fight didn't take place in Ohio, we might be,
We wouldn't
Easter
be
Jr.
talking
might not
about
have
Robert
that.
Easter Jr. right now. We'd be talking about
It,
a comedy versus this guy. You know what I mean?
exactly. But I mean, if he can stay focused all 12 rounds, just box, man. Let the knockout come to you. I'm the type, like, if I was a fighter, I'm big on the jab. You know what I'm saying? I would rather throw the jab than any other punch because you can win a fight with a jab. You can lose it by not jabbing enough because that sets up everything you want to do. If he could just simply use his jab, simply 1-2, turn him,
Hmm.
1-2, turn him, counter him. It's an easy night. You don't got to get the stoppage unless it presents itself or you just land a shot. But these guys got to learn to take what comes to them. You know what I'm saying? And then when you see an opening, take it. But I expect him to win a unanimous decision. I don't know if he's gonna stop. Shirkov. He's tough. He's rugged. But I think that Shirkov is gonna, like you said, give him problems early. And also, if I'm Shirkov and I can get in there at a close enough distance, I'm ripping shots to the body from the first round on. I'm on his body because even though he's tall, he's still skinny. You know what I'm saying? And would do bode well for him if it gets to the second half of the fight, which I imagine it will. That he can he can make Easter Jr. Gas out early, and then he can come on late. But we're gonna see, man, because Easter Jr. I did a video earlier. He called out Jorge Linares and Terry Flanagan, saying he wants those guys next. And other than Mikey Garcia, um, I think that Easter Jr. You can make a case that he is the second best guy, although he hasn't fought the level of Linares or Mikey Garcia. I think you can make a case of him being the second best lightweight in the world. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, it's hard to assess after. All right, this is what I'm gonna say. I do think right now the man at 135 is Jorge Linares. He's
Over
definitely
Mikey?
established himself. And the only reason he's the number one guy is because Mikey Garcia has been inactive. Other than that, I think if Mikey wasn't having the promotional issues, he would have been that guy. But
Okay.
Linares has proven to be the man at 135. He's the lineal title holder at that division as well. You know, so it's hard to argue that he isn't. Now, the man behind him, the number two guy, you can make an argument for Mikey being that guy because of what he's accomplished in general.
Hmm.
Or you could say Robert Easter Jr. because he's more established at 135 than Mikey is. So you can go either way. You know what I mean? Um,
Coming from, yeah.
it depends on how you want to look at it. I wouldn't argue with you if you said Robert Easter was the number two at that division, and I wouldn't argue if somebody said, "Well, Mikey is that guy," because you know the skill set and just the resume and what he's accomplished, what he brings to that division. He makes it a much more stacked division just because of who he is. You know, um, now Robert Easter Jr. against the other belt holders in that division, it's tough to call because we know what he's capable of and we know the size, the threat that he poses, but can he keep it together mentally? That's what's to be seen. You know, yeah, you're a freak of a lightweight, but do you know how to use those physical attributes
Yep.
at the world class level? And that's what we're about to find that out. You're going up
Yeah.
against a much smaller guy than you. Let's see if you know how to stick that pole out there, you know, your jabs and your straights. Let's see if you know how to keep this guy at bay or if you're going to fall in love with yourself and fight the wrong game plan. You know, and this is in one of the world-class lightweights that you're going up against. So if you struggle with this guy, what would make me think that you could beat Terry Flanagan or Linares or Mikey Garcia or even Felix Verdejo? What makes me think, you know, you could keep it together against those guys? So it's hard to say, but we'll find out what happens, man. We'll see how he looks.
And it's fun that you mentioned Felix Verdejo because a lot of people were high on him, and I seen him early on. He looked sensational, speed, power, skills, but he's another guy that I've heard and we know confirmed that he doesn't take his career as serious as he should. He got in a wreck late last year. Could have been, catastrophic, but thank God it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It was just minor injuries, and now he's going to be facing Terry Flanagan more than likely. I think either September 9th or September 16th in the UK. And what's probably was a surefire guaranteed win, or he will at least be the overwhelming favorite, is now it's like, okay, well, much better, and I'm not too familiar with Terry Flanagan, but Felix Rodeo hasn't looked good, at all lately in his fights. And we've been joined by the homie Smooth Cat, man. What's up?
What's up, bros? How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Hey, we
Chopping it
doing
up.
good, man. I want to jump in on this conversation. We talking about Robert Easter Jr. and was talking about Felix Verdeja. What do you think about who do you got winning tomorrow between Shiakov and Easter Jr.?
Oh, okay. You know what? Something I heard y'all saying because I was just commenting to y'all, but actually,
Okay.
something I heard y'all saying about it's about him. He needs to establish that jab, and he got to, he got to control the distance because Shafikov is a little guy. So if he can keep him at the end of that jab and actually use his size advantage, the reach, hell, I'm not sure if I'll say he's a bigger puncher, but if he can use all his physical advantages, he should clearly win. But we did see in the Comey fight, he can be lured into a brawl where he gives up all that. So I'm wondering, can Shafikov force him into that type of fight?
And if he forces him into that type of fight, because I think Comey he's better, and Comey is a guy that's he can give all these guys a tough out, man. He's a very good fighter as well. But it's gonna be very interesting to see. I hope he watched some of Tommy Hearn's, fights and kind of study, you know, the great Tommy Hearns, because even though we know Tommy got pieced up by Sugar Ray Leonard and a few other guys, the guy, he didn't really admire his his offensive work. He went for the kill. He got you. If not, he jabbed you to death. Probably
Mm-hmm.
one of the greatest jabs in history of boxing. He would jab you to death. You know what I'm saying? And I was watching Muhammad Ali earlier today, and he was just using the way he used his jab. It was just, it just kind of defeats you, because if the jab is constantly pumping and constantly connecting, I mean, if you can't get past the jab, you have no chance to win a
Right.
fight.
Larry
You know what I'm
Holmes.
saying?
Larry
So
Holmes have the best jabs ever too. Probably the best.
yeah.
Larry Holmes jab was that was the true definition of a piston jab.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
it just wasn't accurate. Like, it just completely stopped your forward momentum too, man. Like, when he
Man,
hit
it
you,
was
it was a
powerful.
sledgehammer jab. It was a sledgehammer jab. You know.
Mhm.
Exactly, man. And hopefully these fighters listening to us, man, get back to the basics, man. And all that other shit, it comes, but you get those techniques and those fundamentals down pat, man. You can beat pretty much anybody if you got all the other ingredients to, to go with the skill set. But Robert Easterman, I'm high on you. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be bad to distance yourself from Adrian Broner, who, Smooth Cat, that's my boy, but we keep it real. Adrian Broner,
Right.
a clown, you know what I'm saying? That's my
Yes, he
boy.
is.
You know how we like somebody, but they a clown, but we still rock
Yeah.
with them? That's how I
Uh-huh.
feel about Adrian Broner. That's my boy, but he a clown. So Easter Jr., man, he needs to kind of, maybe, I don't know, we have to see, but he might want to distance himself, from Adrian. And when it comes to him preparing for fights and all that, like, you still be my dog, but hey, I got to do me. I got to kind of reach my potential. I don't want to be, another you with all this potential and come up short. So I think,
Yeah.
hopefully this fight tomorrow doesn't force him to do drastic things, because, he wasn't focused or he took his opponent lightly. But I think, with that being said, I think he's going to dominate either way, whether it's a knockout or a decision victory. But he just has to be disciplined.
Mm.
Talk about Manny Pacquiao. He's traveling to
Uh-oh.
Australia, or he's in Australia. We got to get a legend some love, man. He a all-time great, one of my favorite fighters. He's fighting Jeff
Definitely.
Horn on ESPN, which is, the matchup isn't lovely, but anytime we get to see free boxing on TV, that's great. Plus, it's an all-time, great in the main event. Man, Jeff Horn been talking a lot of, he been talking a lot of shit. He really been talking shit, talking about he trying to one with Marquez Pacquiao. And when I seen that shit, I was laughing, because I'm like, man, for you to do that, Manny Pacquiao's chin got to be fucking shit. It got to be shit at this point. If you catch him like that, I know your perfect shot can hurt anybody, knock anybody out, but I think Jeff Horn gonna realize after that first round that he in over his head. I expect Manny Pacquiao to beat his ass. And when I say beat his ass, I think he's going to get a stoppage, because Randall Bailey, who was a tough veteran fighter, former champion, he put Horn on his ass. He wasn't able to finish it because, a little out of his prime. But if he put him on his ass and he wasn't even, like, as fresh as Pacquiao, in terms of Pacquiao still is, I guess, a fresher fighter at this stage than Bailey was at, at the point when he fought Horn. I think that Manny Pacquiao, if he wants to, he can turn their lights out like that. I'm gonna let Tim. I want you to dive in this, man. What's your keys to victory for both guys?
Man, it's hard to say what Jeff Horn could do against Manny Pacquiao, man, and I'm gonna explain why. I haven't seen much of Jeff Horn. I mean, I know he's the number one contender for the WBO welterweight title, and I saw the fight with Randall Bailey, in a fight that he just didn't look too solid in.
Nope.
And so that makes it even worse as to, I don't know what he could do against Manny Pacquiao. Someone that's so electric, even at his age still. Like, I know what Manny Pacquiao has to do. Manny Pacquiao just has to be Manny Pacquiao. That's what he needs to do. Don't stray away from what you did against Timothy Bradley or Brandon Rios or Chris
Marcus.
Algieri. Or, right. Just be yourself. Now, Jeff Horn, I can't say what he needs to do, because he doesn't look like no slick boxer to me. He doesn't look like he has movement to kind of offset Manny Pacquiao's rhythm and his activity. He doesn't seem like he has the lateral movement to stop Manny Pacquiao's straight line offense when he's coming in blistering. When he makes those little, he's doing all that.
Yeah.
I don't know what Jeff Horn needs to do, to be honest. If somebody could tell me, I don't really know.
Man, he taller than him. So, like we were saying with the Easter, even though he's not as good as Easter, goes a long way. I mean, if he can keep Manny Pacquiao at the end of that jab, then maybe he has a chance. If it goes the distance, man, that's his chance. He needs to stay on his feet for 12 rounds because Pacquiao got robbed in America where he's been dominant against Tim Bradley. I ain't gonna say I think it was robbery. I didn't see Tim Bradley winning that fight at all. Some people they actually thought that he won it. But if Manny Pacquiao can get robbed in Las Vegas where he fights at on the regular, then I wouldn't be shocked if he walks out without the WBO championship belt over a bullshit, decision. Smooth Cat, what's your thoughts?
You know what? The thing with Jeff Horn is for Jeff Horn to win this fight, Jeff Horn he has a better chance of hitting the Powerball than he do of winning this fight to me. And I'm not trying to necessarily like call him a bum because it's not that he's a bum. It's just that Pacquiao is just so far better than him. Hell, even as y'all aforementioned, this age version of Pacquiao, he's still just so much better than him. But like you say, if Horn, the type of fighter he is, he likes to fight on the inside. And I mean, some of the guys he fought, that's like he was fighting when the fight against Ali Funeka. He ended up stopping. He ended up stopping him, but it's like Funeka was like literally was landing the better shots for a good portion of that fight.
Didn't he drop Jeff Horn too?
I think he did. Yeah. I think it was like the third or fourth round. I think he dropped him.
Yeah, Funeka, one of my favorite fighters man, he was a solid fighter. He was like Robert Easter at 135 before Robert Easter, but go ahead.
Yeah. But you know what, like I say, for Jeff Horn to win, he gotta come out, he gotta attack the body. And he has to hope, in my John Pascal voice, that Pacquiao gets old overnight. He gotta hope he get old overnight. That's the only how I can truly see him getting this. Me, honestly, I'm going to agree with you, Big Cool. I think Pacquiao knockout streak will come back this fight. I think he's going to stop him. I think he's going to stop Jeff Horn in maybe like the 7th or 8th round.
I mean, I'm with you. And like you said, go to the body. He go to the body, he going to give his height up. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao fast and powerful. He don't go to the body, he going to end up retreating because Pacquiao going to be blitzing him like he did Antonio Margarito. I mean, he damned if he do, he damned if he don't. But who knows? Right. Pacquiao, he slipped, but I haven't seen footage of him training for this fight. But even if he did slip, just like I said, I'm not going to say that fight specifically because we know it's a BS fight, but that guy could slip 3 or 4 levels and still beat his opponent in his next fight. And you know what I'm talking about because it's just levels to this shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Pacquiao gonna beat this boy ass, and I ain't gonna call him a bum. But what Jamie Foxx saying in his stand up, he ain't gonna call Whitney a crackhead, but she very crackish. So we can say he very he bummish. You know what I'm saying? He bummish. You know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to see that crowd in Australia because it's gonna be raucous. They're gonna be cheering Horn the B. I hope he can sting like the B because he gonna need some power behind those shots.
Man, Pacquiao go float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. But he ain't Muhammad Ali.
Hey, dropping rhymes, man. Anything else y'all want to talk about? Shit, we gearing up, man. I'm enjoying this. I'm trying to talk about some more shit.
Have y'all talked about Mikey versus AB?
No, we have not.
Well, we can talk about it a little bit because we're gonna really do an in-depth show about that. But yeah, we can preview it. You want to preview it, Tim?
There was a statement that AB had made recently, and I don't want to butcher it. I don't know if you got it pulled up, my man. If not, I can pull it up right quick.
Yeah, you might be able to pull it up.
Yeah, hold on. I might have to go off camera for a second. Hold on. This is one thing on Colossal Boxing Talk. I don't want to fabricate nothing. I want to give you nothing but facts. We don't lie. We don't bullshit around here. So let me just
real shit.
Yeah, real shit. Yeah. So wait for my man Tim to come back with this damn quote.
Yeah, this is what he said. He said, "I'll do what I got to do to get my victory. He's not gonna stand in front of me. Nobody do. once they feel my power, they change their mind. Okay, so when I heard that, I thought, so you're telling me that de Leon didn't change his mind?
Exactly.
What about Paulie Malignaggi?
Man, Paulie took everything he had and never flinched.
He took everything, and he took some flush right hands. I don't know if you remember
he
that
did.
fight. And Paulie was still right in front of him. Marcos Maidana beat your motherfucking ass after the butt fuck thing in the first round. It was over for you. It was over. It didn't matter what you hit Marcos Maidana with it. At that point, you could hit him with bricks. It didn't matter at that point. But you wasn't hitting him with bricks. Marcos Maidana was just unfazed. The only thing that was phasing him was his fatigue. And then the Sean Porter fight. You wasn't phasing Sean Porter. You wasn't doing much of anything in the Sean Porter fight, as a matter of fact. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Into the 12th round. I give it to the
he
has.
I told y'all for Broner he can lose damn near every round of a fight. He gonna come out that 12th round and fight his ass. So I don't know. I'm guessing that's why he throws so few punches, because I make this joke all the time. Broner is the only fighter I know who can hit you with what's that, like 12 or 17 punches and still be losing rounds. Anybody else that accurate, you be like, damn, he should be winning. But the opponent that hit him with like 30 shots out of like 74. So it's like he getting outworked.
Because he lazy. He a lazy fighter, bro. And I mentioned in the video, he fight like he trained, and that's half-ass. You know what I'm saying? So, but man, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all gonna... Go ahead, Tim.
Adrian Broner, when he lets his hands go, like he used to at 130 and 135, he looks like an animal. It's when he starts shelling up and he goes into defensive mode, that's when he starts getting outworked. And we started seeing this from 140 and on, and especially when he went to 147. He doesn't even belong in that weight class. Yeah. I'll just say that right now. I don't think Adrian Broner is lazy when he gets in the ring necessarily. I just don't think he knows exactly what fight he needs to be fighting at times. Like, he just doesn't come educated in certain fights thinking that, you know what, I could shell up against this guy and catch him with a lot of clean counters. And that's not Adrian Broner, though. The essence of Adrian Broner, he's more aggressive, really. And he lost that essence once he left 135. He just was never the same animal. And I think he could be. There's certain people that think that he should have stood at 135. I think he belongs at 140. It's just he fights the wrong fight. You know what I mean? He needs to get back to being aggressive and trying to walk these guys down and letting his hands go. I know he could do it.
So let me ask you this, because you seem like you're still high on him, Tim, and I got some, like I got a lot of hopes for him still. And crazy as this may sound, I'm gonna go in detail when the fight gets closer how I see Broner winning, but I got a feeling, man, that this might be his. Look, I think he's gonna have his Victor Ortiz moment. You know what I'm saying? With Victor Ortiz, we thought he was gonna quit against Andre Berto, and when he got dropped, I was like, oh shit, well he might as well go and quit. I thought he was anyway. And he came back and won that fight. I think that Adrian Broner gonna have his Victor Ortiz moment somehow, some way. I mean, I genuinely believe this time is that he's at least gonna put the effort into trying to win the fight. He's gonna do everything that you saying he needs to do, walk the guy down. You know, he's gonna have to be careful against Mikey Garcia, who is an excellent counterpuncher that has big power in his fist. But I don't know, man. I got a feeling he gonna pull it out, but I'll reveal how I see that happening when it's fight week or a couple weeks before, when we do our breakdown hangout video on that. But like you said, he needs to be able to kind of adapt to different styles. And for a guy that's been around Floyd Mayweather for so long, you would think that he would just soak up all that knowledge and at least prepare the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because he gassed against what's the guy, the former fighter from Floyd's camp, Ashley Theopan. He gassed in that fight.
Yeah.
He gassed against Granados. You know what I'm saying? He like he said, he got his ass beat by fucking Maidana. He got out hustled by Porter. He shouldn't even have that loss to Porter, to be honest. If he let his hands go and fought the fight that he was supposed to, Porter was the guy that he's supposed to look good against, even though it's hard to look good against, Porter. But we seen what Broner can do. He countered the shit out of Molina, and that's kind of a balance. He need to have the 135 Broner with that Broner that fought Molina, where he could do both. He could walk you down and he could counter you and outbox you. I think he might have an identity crisis when it comes to these guys, man, because he shouldn't have struggled with Adrian Granados. You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't even struggle with Ashley Theopan. But I mean, we can't want it for him. We can't want it more than he wants it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So July 29th, we a month away almost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
exactly.
It's put up a shut up. Yeah, it's put up a shut up for AB. He turned 28 the day before the fight, so maybe he can give himself a birthday present, get a big victory. Because if he gets a big victory, boy, oh boy, it opens up a lot of opportunities.
You know what? Y'all remember that little bird who used to what's that the song used to be like, I'm about to whoop somebody's ass. That song?
I think so.
That's the song Mikey
he's doing all this. He's looking around.
Yeah. Hey, Mikey finna beat the hell out of Broner, and I mean, I like Broner, and I really do. But Mikey is he on another level, and as good as talented as Broner is, and he's the bigger man in this fight and everything. I can't watch the way how Mikey dissect Broner. He's not only gonna take that away from him. He watch by the 6-7 round, he gonna have AB laying on the corner, laying on the ropes, just sitting there looking confused as hell. Watch it.
I'm going. Hey, look, man. I'm riding with AB on this one. I'm riding. This is the final time, man. If he don't perform well, even in a losing effort, I ain't riding with him no more. I don't care if he's facing whoever. You know what I'm saying?
Like, here you go. I'll give you an example how I think Broner is. Okay, Broner is this era's Zab Judah a little bit. He's not as talented as Zab, but I think he's this era Zab. Now
he ain't crazy either though. He ain't as crazy as Zab either.
I agree. Now, okay, what's the guy name? Regis Prograis. Now, if Broner was fighting him, Broner would probably give him all type of trouble, and I think Prograis is good, but Broner would give him hell. But the only reason why he'll give him hell is because he's still at that prospect stage. Whenever Broner step past the prospects and start fighting world champions, I'ma always pick against him. Always, because he continuously shows me that at that level, he's not at that level to me. That's the Ponce de Leon fight. Honestly, the only reason he won that fight is because they were trying to promote him. Leon clearly won 6 of them rounds. Ain't nobody gonna tell me you can find 6 rounds Broner won. Somebody had it 7-3, and I'm like, how?
Man, Broner better make me look good.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this. Hey, you remember the last time you was dependent on a fighter, your last name got changed.
Hey, man, we ain't going to that decision. I don't even know what you're talking about on that one, brother. Who you referring to?
Yes, you do, Jarrell Alvarez.
Oh yeah. That Canelo shit, I ain't doing it again. No, it was Laura. I put faith in. Man, look, Laura. Since you want to bring that up, look, we can make an argument, Laura, on that fight. It ain't like he was just whitewashed. I mean, that fight could have went either way. But being the objective, unbiased person that I am, I did score for Canelo. I think that Laura ran a little too much in some of the key parts of that fight. I won't say ran, but he wasn't active enough. So, you know what I'm saying? Look, man, he got out hustled by fucking Canelo Alvarez.
That uppercut changed that fight.
Hey, some Cubans are chinny, man. They not super chin, but they kind of like, you know what I'm saying? They don't like get hit like that. But who likes to get hit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that wraps everything up. Unless there's something else y'all want to speak on. I was thinking about Tyson Fury, but that motherfucker, he cracked me up, man. That
The
big
one and only Tyson Fury.
return of the Mac. Yeah, return of the Mac.
Return of the
Yo, man,
crack.
now that we're talking about Tyson
Return of the crack.
Yo, now that we talk about Tyson Fury though, and this is Talk That Shit Thursday, what the fuck is Tyson Fury talking about? Saying that Conor McGregor's gonna spark Floyd Mayweather out on August 26th. I don't know
Like
if
I
y'all
said,
heard
hold
that.
on. Hey, somebody cue
I
the beat.
see.
Return of the crack. Oh my God. Return of the crack.
I'm in love with the Colossal.
That motherfucker eat macaroni and smoking crack or snorting that shit, man. Because that motherfucker is a big buffoon. But that motherfucker probably, he crazy as fuck. I wouldn't want to be around that motherfucker in a setting where it's just us two, because that motherfucker bound and down do some crazy shit, man.
He crazy, you know what though? But he's one hell of a heavyweight, man. I gotta give it to him. I don't know if you can appreciate what he does in the ring like I do. Just the way that he moves for fucking a guy of his physique, and you watch him,
Yeah.
the way he shifts in the ring and everything, and his footwork, man. I have a lot of respect for what he does in the ring. I don't think he gets enough credit, man.
I got a lot of respect to him for it too, but he still loses to Joshua and Wilder. And not because they've been
Honestly,
fighters than him.
if
Not 'cause they better
Cunningham was
fighters.
2 inches taller, I think Cunningham would have beat him.
That's my reason, but like I said, Styles do make matchups. But man, every time I think of Tyson Fury, I think of two things: him punching himself and him getting dropped by Steve Cunningham. Them two things, man. I'm like, come on, bro, you can't get dropped by Steve Cunningham, who I like, terrific fighter, but you get dropped by him. But like I said, everybody live and learn, they mature, get better.
You know what, man? Though boxing proves this, you could sometimes do a 360. Because a guy that we were talking about earlier, Jorge Linares, didn't he get stopped
like 2 times, I think,
consecutively?
early. Yeah.
Now he's the man at 135. So
Linares on a hell of a roll.
Yeah, man, he's a road warrior. He wants to fight everybody too. He doesn't want to give himself no breaks. After that, those fights with Anthony Crolla.
Crolla, yeah.
And Crolla, that was a dog at 135 as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's talking about that he wants to get in the ring with Mikey Garcia. Like, he seems completely rejuvenated. So I do believe that there's guys that they could completely do a 360 in their careers. It's just about wanting to change and understanding what you do wrong in the ring.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Tyson Fury is somebody as gifted as he is. I truly believe that, you know, he can make a 360. It's just about how much he wants to make that comeback and how much he really wants to change. You know, like the crack addiction, you know, I like to make jokes at it, but I really do hope he gets well, man. I really do.
Right. Yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, that's most important because he got 2 little kids. He got a wife. You know what I'm saying? It's important. It's like you said, I mentioned earlier, it's more important than entertaining us. You know what I'm saying? That's secondary when you got a family, you know, that's dependent on you, you know, for, you know, their well-being. So he needs to get that fixed first. And then once he got that straight and then he dropped 100 pounds, then he can resume his career. But it's up to him, man.
It's one of those things, man, like, and history proves itself, though, that if you continue down that life where that drug addiction, no athlete beats it.
None.
Not even in, like, I'm not even talking about boxing. I'm talking about any sport in general.
Yeah.
You might beat it for a little bit, but I mean, you got to be a special type of guy or girl to really tackle that and really say, you know what, I'm not gonna do it. And you got to surround yourself with good people, man. You can't have no yes man. I don't care if he's 6'9", crazy. I mean, you got to stand up and like, look, I love you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna let you do this. So I might not be able to physically whoop your ass, but I can get you the help, and I can get some people that's gonna be able to do it for you. Because that's what you need in your life. You need more stand up people and less yes men and women, man. Because once you get on crack, man, or any type of drug, pills or whatever the fuck it is, alcohol, I mean that's hard, man. Because
you end up as a coulda, woulda, shoulda case.
Yep.
That's how it always is. Especially like I'll give you an example of the late great Hector Camacho.
Yes, rest his soul.
Magnificent fighter.
Yes.
I mean, some of the quickest hands in his prime. Beautiful footwork.
He was lightning fast.
He was basically the complete package as a fighter in his prime. And then he started messing with drugs, and then things start happening in your career that shouldn't happen, like getting into close fights with Ray Mancini that shouldn't have even been close. You know what I mean? And I feel like he lost to a lot of guys that he probably should have beaten. You know, it's
didn't he lose to the out of his prime Duran? Didn't Duran beat him?
Yeah.
You know what? Duran probably should have won the first fight. But Camacho should have probably won that fight, man. Like if you're talking about Duran was in his 40s, he was old. There was no way that Duran should have been that tough. It took him the second time around back in 2001 when Duran was prehistoric for him to get it right. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury's clean, man, you said that you think that Deontay Wilder beats him, but if Tyson Fury gets his mind right, I think he does beat Deontay Wilder, or he might even beat Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he gets his mind right, because you look at Anthony Joshua, and he's a guy that his style, it could be given a lot of problems if Tyson Fury's at his best and he's using so much movement. You know, the target that Anthony Joshua is looking to land bombs on won't be there. But if Tyson Fury can't get his mind right, there's a lot of guys that he'll lose to that he shouldn't lose to.
And those, I think all the heavyweights could beat each other, honestly, skill or not. I mean, because those we mentioned 2 to 3 guys, big power punchers, and then we got Fury, who probably the best boxer out of out of everybody. Maybe you could throw Ortiz in there. You know what I'm saying? Just from a pure standpoint of a boxer just that can outbox you. You know what I'm saying? That is Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? And so I would put the best fighter would be Joshua. The most powerful would be Wilder. The best boxer would be Fury. I don't know if y'all agree with that assessment, but that's how I look at it. You know,
I think I'd probably give the edge to King Kong Ortiz as the best boxer in that division.
Okay, I was thinking of him, but I mean, it's so hard to consider him, even though he's still relevant, because he's getting dicked around by Eddie Hearn and WBA. I mean, he should probably be fighting, Wilder instead of Stavern, because he's done way more to earn that shot at WBC than Stavern has. So, I mean, I guess he won and Fury won.
Is that fight going down, the rematch with Wilder and Stavern?
I'm guessing so, man, and I'm guessing so
because I ain't heard nothing about it.
Because I know he's mandatory.
And people giving Wilder hell because he turned down a big payday from White, which is crazy. Don't get me started. Like Wilder, I'm from Alabama. He's from Alabama, so that's my boy. I mean, I had some bias right there with that, but that's crazy to throw around, that much money. But you got to also look at it. If you want to go ahead and get this mandatory out of the way, so it don't hold up any other big fight, whether it's a Parker fight or it's an Ortiz fight or it's a Joshua fight or Hay or Fury or Klitschko, then you might want to just go ahead and get that fight out the way, because Stavern has no chance of hell beating him. He got his ass whooped the first time. I think he gets stopped this go round. You know what I'm saying? Wilder just completely outboxed and befuddled him in a fight that a lot of people didn't think he could win or would win.
I was one of those.
So, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I was nervous,
and I'll stay with it.
I was nervous as fuck because everybody's talking about the chin shit and all that, but I mean, it's hard, man. Politics.
I never thought Stavern was that good to begin with, though. The only reason he was a champion was because he beat a gay Chris Areola, to be honest.
So, AKA
Stavern pretty solid.
I mean,
aka Carlos Amarjo or Mirio, whatever his boy name, City Boy.
I mean, I don't know
Hey,
what your
you know
opinion
what?
on
They do
Stavern as a
look
fighter
alike.
is, but
Hey, they do look alike.
I think Stavern, he's solid, but I mean, obviously now hindsight, looking at it, he's not as good as we thought he was. Like you said, opponents make you look good. That's why we see prospects, when they step up, look like shit, or not to be what we thought they was because they had a tailor-made opponent.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'll tell you this much, man. Like, he possesses the worst peekaboo style I've ever seen in the heavyweight division, man. Like, it's slow, and the essence of the peekaboo style is head movement, and that motherfucker was like nodding yes against Deontay Wilder. There was no
Yeah.
head movement. He was just constantly getting popped, you know. So,
That jab was on point too, though. That jab was good that night from Wilder,
yo,
man.
I was
If
the
he
only
used it,
person too. People thought I was crazy. Like, nah, there's no way that fight goes to a decision. I'm like, I bet you Deontay Wilder outboxes him. I'm like, nobody gets knocked out in this fight. Like, I had to be the
you
only
were right.
person. If I find a screenshot, I'm uploading it. I'm telling everybody, yo, I predicted it. I'm like, I think Deontay Wilder shows different wrinkles in this fight, and he did. But since that fight, we haven't seen those wrinkles again. He's starting to look more like the Deontay Wilder of old that I know, where he kind of relies on his physical gifts.
Do you think that's? I want to get your opinion because I know Smoothcast's opinion. He knows mine. You like I said, you're knowledgeable. I want you to get. Do you think that we haven't seen that Deontay Wilder because of the lack of competition? Because me, I say he fights down the competition. To me, that's what it seems to. It seems like that to me. You know what I'm saying? But what are your whole? This will be the final thing we talk about. What's your whole assessment on his strengths and weaknesses, and how good of a fighter do you think he is, and how good do you think he can be, Tim?
He's not your fundamentally sound boxer. Let me just establish that right there. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because neither were, and I don't want to compare him to guys like, Muhammad Ali, who wasn't a fundamentally sound boxer, or Roy Jones Jr. wasn't a fundamentally sound boxer either. I think Deontay Wilder knows that he's got that equalizer, and he uses that to his advantage. He uses a lot of his physical gifts to his advantage, and that's intelligent. So I can't really knock Deontay Wilder's IQ if he necessarily knows how to connect those windmill punches that people give him shit for. If he fucking hits you with it, so what? He's got that equalizer that he could probably put you out with it. You know what I mean? So I can't really give him too much shit. Now, I did say this earlier. Deontay Wilder against Stavern showed more of a boxing ability than he's shown afterwards. And I think a lot of that plays into because of who he's fighting. And I think of what he knows he could get away with against these guys. I don't think you'll see him pulling the same type of shit against someone like Anthony Joshua.
You gonna beat Joshua?
Or King Kong Ortiz if they ever fight. Or even if him and Vladimir Klitschko fought. I don't know what Vladimir Klitschko's plans are. But I don't think you'll be seeing a lot of that stuff that you see, like that you saw in his last fight with Gerald Washington. I think you would see a different Deontay Wilder. I think you see a more, I want to say calculated Deontay Wilder. Still not fundamentally sound, but I think he has a little bit, a few more tricks up his sleeve.
Hey man, Tim said it right there. So hey, Tim said it. It's verified, man. He better than what y'all think. And the thing I think about with Wilder, if I'm fighting him, is that he strikes when you least expect it. Yeah, you can anticipate some of the shots, but if he got any glimpse that you hurt, it's like, what can you do? Because it's windmill straight punches. They coming at 100 miles per hour, and what can you really do? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And his jab is really good, man, when he uses it. His jab is really like he jabs Stavern to death in that fight. You know, he showed that he can fight off the ropes a little bit. Although I don't do that, being 6'6", I don't be wanting to see no tall guys give up their height and throw uppercuts and shit from close like that when you're just not in a position to defend yourself. But he showed that he was able to do a little bit with his back on the ropes. My boy JG always said he wants him to incorporate that left hook more and maybe some body shots. But for a big motherfucker, if you ain't fighting a guy that's your height, to do that to the body, because I know Joshua did it perfectly in the his fight with Klitschko in the clinch. But I mean, like I said, it remains to be seen. I think he beats Joshua. I've always stated that. I stand by that. I don't care what nobody says.
Hell
Smooth cat.
no. To the
All right,
no.
man, I'm just
Hell
saying,
to
look,
the
man,
no.
if you look at it, though, bro, if y'all look at it, Joshua is the best. I give Joshua being the best heavyweight right now just because he beat Vladimir. But the way he just gassed, that gotta mean something if you're looking at these other fights. You know what I mean? Because if it was an Ortiz, man, Ortiz would have countered him to death, especially when he was tired. He would have walked him down. Joshua would have been swinging wildly, and he would have got countered, dropped with a straight left hand or right hook. You know what I'm saying?
I honestly, I think Ortiz will present more issues for Wilder than Joshua, and that's not to say that I don't think Ortiz can give Joshua a hell of a fight. I really think Ortiz is completely wrong for Wilder. I really do.
I can see that. I
think he's wrong for
see
most guys in that division, to be honest, man.
Yeah.
He's wrong for guys that like Wilder, who was super aggressive, that's not fundamentally sound. And he wrong for guys like Joshua, who gasses. So while Joshua will give him more of an early, a better fight early on, just because he'll be fresher, you know what I'm saying? But once he started to gas, man, look, I like Joshua, but I'm not about to hop on the sack like everybody else. Snookat is not directed towards you because you've been high on Joshua since he turned pro, or maybe in the Olympics. But motherfuckers, if you gonna look at Joshua and say that him gassing the way he did isn't something to caution you to just say, well, he's unbeatable or such and such, then you're kidding yourself. Because this motherfucker was breathing hard like he had just ran 3 miles. You know what I'm saying? I know he got excited and blew his load early, and he did catch that second win and get the victory. But against fresher guys like Ortiz and Wilder, Fury, that shit ain't gonna fly, because all it take from these big heavyweights is one shot. And if you tired, shit, you're gonna be looking like Sergey in there. You just like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? This is just not my night, so I'm gonna just go ahead and take this L and go buy some watches.
Let me ask y'all 2 questions. All right, 1. Had Klitschko not been on the long layoff when he had Anthony Joshua hurt, do you think he could have put him away? 1. 2. Does Deontay Wilder beat Vladimir Klitschko that night?
I'll go first. Okay, with the with the layoff talk, I believe pretty much that I don't think that even a fresher version of Vlad, I don't think they would have won that fight. I really don't. And in regards to the Wilder thing, I believe that version of Vladimir definitely stops Wilder in 5.
What? Oh man, look, man. No, brother, I can't believe you just. I'm not even the Wilder getting stopped part. He was out of the ring 18 months, whatever it was. He hadn't fought since November 2015, and he was beating his ass. He was beating Joshua's ass for a good portion of that fight. And if you saying if he would have been just out of the ring for 6 months, he would have finished Joshua. He would have finished him. Tim, I know you agree with me. He would have finished. Joshua would have been 18 and 1.
I gotta ride with him on that one. I agree. I think Vladimir Klitschko would have done him in.
He was whooping his ass. It wasn't. He was outboxing him, out jabbing him. He was look, man. Joshua is very good, but don't sit up here and tell me that a fresher Vladimir Klitschko wouldn't have won that fight, whether it was 12 rounds.
Okay, this is the thing. With a fresher version of Vladimir Klitschko, so that means that version would have been he'd have been more likely to be a little more aggressive, right?
No, no.
Yes.
I mean, no. Look. This is that was a rare occasion, man. Because I didn't think he was gonna be walking him down. Maybe you're right though. Maybe he hurt, but you also understand he was already hesitant. That he kind of feels you out, jab, straight right hand, left hook, simple and clinch. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. But Joshua was the aggressor in that fight. Joshua fought that first half like he just knew that Klitschko hadn't fought for 2 or 3 years. That's how he fought it because he started after the first round he picked up his intensity and his punch output until he blew his load and it almost caught him. So if this is a fresher with Klitschko, he might have got his ass out earlier than that because he did. I think in the end of the first round or the second round, he caught Joshua with a beautiful right hand that got the attention of Joshua. So I mean, it's hard to say, man, in terms of how he would have fought him if he was coming off of a 6-month layoff rather than an 18-month layoff. But I know one thing, he'd have won him. And as far as him beating Deontay. You talking about the version that fought Joshua, right? Or what?
Yeah, he said the version that fought Joshua.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It depends on how hurt he would have been because I can see him stopping Wilder or outboxing him, but it depends on how the level of power, who punches harder. You know what I'm saying? Wilder or Joshua. You know what I'm saying? And shit. Depends on how hurt he would have been as well. If he was hurt more against Wilder than he was against Joshua early in that fight, Wilder probably puts him down. You know what I'm saying? Wilder doesn't seem to gas as much as Joshua. Maybe it's because he doesn't have as much muscle mass or he knows how to preserve his energy better. But it remains to be seen. I just want them big motherfuckers to fight each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I was in shape, I'd fight all the motherfuckers and probably win. You know what I'm saying? I go after Wilder first, then I go after Joshua. Then I go after Parker, Wilder, then Joshua.
Man, I would go straight for the dark horse, man. Go for King Kong Ortiz. Put an end to that myth, man. That's what you need to do. Every division has its dark horse. And King Kong Ortiz happens to be the dark horse of the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is, man. But honestly, man, it's going to be sad. I don't think he's going to ever be a champion, man. I mean, who going to fight him? Unless I don't know. Unless he brings a lot of money, which he doesn't. Or the WBC or the IBF. No, if it's the IBF, they normally enforce their mandatories. So is Pulev going to be fighting Joshua after Vladimir Klitschko rematch? I mean, he never going to get a shot, I don't think.
Well, let me ask this. Is Anthony Joshua the WBA super champion or the regular champion?
The super.
The super champion?
Yeah.
I think King Kong Ortiz could still be a world champion, but he gets a shot at that regular title.
Wait a minute. I think somebody just
when I say champion, I mean when I say champion, I mean like the champion. Whatever whichever it is, like Wilder is and what Joshua is to the IBF. You know what I'm saying? That like that guy, like you got to fight your mandatory. Like you are the number one.
Right.
Ortiz wants. He don't want to be no secondary WBA regular champion, which I don't know. That shit's stupid as fuck to me. Because what does that really mean? It just means that you're a level below the actual champion and you get a chance to actually fight for that. So I guess I don't know. If it make them feel better,
My man, you're thinking about it way too hard. This is what it is, all right? You ready for this? Sanctioning fees, and sanctioning fees. It's the simplest answer. It's a way to extort these fighters of their money. That's all it is, fam. All it is. You don't got to think about it too much. That's exactly what they're all crooked. The WBA, the WBC, the WBO.
Facts.
Hell, even the IBF. Everything is a sanctioning fee. You know why? Because if they wasn't crooked, then you know what? They wouldn't be trying to take a big percentage of these fighters' purses.
These purses get bigger than the belts are worth. These IBF these sanctioning bodies gonna be like, well, what I'm gonna do now? You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of members go to Al Heyman and guys that can give them that money. If you can give me a consistent $1 million each time out, I don't need to fight. I don't need a belt. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind it, but nowadays motherfuckers want that check to clear. And once that check clear, you can have your belt. Because once you win the belt, I mean, you get they send you a copy of one or whatever, and you already known as that. So shit, you can
Exactly.
walk around with that bitch and saying, "Look,
Hey,
I'm the
what's
champion."
that famous statement from Floyd Mayweather about belts?
What he said, I forgot.
He said, "Belts don't make me."
Belts don't do nothing but collect dust.
Hmm.
Hey,
Mike
he ain't lying.
Tyson, he said it's garbage. This is exactly what he said. He grabbed one of the titles, flipped it. He said it's garbage. He said at one point this meant everything, but then your priorities change in life. He said this. These belts they don't mean much afterwards.
Mhm.
That shit, man. I ain't fucking with Mike Tyson today, man. That motherfucker crazy as fuck.
I'll
Cause,
fuck you till
but
you love me.
hey, we finna wrap it up, man. Hey, for my boy Tim Medina, excuse me. Hey, I ain't want to call you
You
Madonna.
ain't gotta call me
Hey, you
Madonna,
might punch
everything but
somebody.
Medina.
Hey, Medina, man, it's Medina, not to be confused with McDonough, but I'm pretty sure he packs a good punch like McDonough. But hey, expect more shit from us. Our boy Smooth Cat jumped in, had to grace us with his presence, and man, we gonna rock on, man. We about to talk some strategy, get off this air, man. But if you like this video, as always, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Colossal Boxing Talk, drop those comments in the comment section below. Let us know what you thought about the video. Follow us on Twitter at Colossal CBT. Head over to Facebook, smack that like button on the Colossal Boxing Talk Facebook page. Tim, you can tell them where they can follow you at on your social media.
You can follow me on Instagram at the Taino Warrior. Facebook, Timothy Medina. Um, that's really what I use. That's what I be talking about with boxing. Um, Also, if you could follow my page, SSS Boxing Talk. I run that page with some other guys. Shout out to my man Thomas Santos. He started that with me. We're 1.4K going strong. So if just check it out. We're always bringing you fresh content. And also shout out to Eastwick Boxing Talk. Like I said earlier, the same thing, same group of cats. And I just want to thank y'all for real for getting me on board with this, man. Like I really appreciate it. I know y'all didn't really need me. Y'all already had a good click. Y'all already had the Wu-Tang Clan, and But I really appreciate y'all for bringing me on board, and it's gonna be fun. I really feel like we gonna get this movement strong. I really do.
Definitely, man. Like I said, we glad to have you on board, man. You came highly recommended. So like I said, man, we gonna chop up after this to discuss strategy, but we about to really soon, man. We about to legitimize everything in the coming months. The website is in the process of being created, so stay tuned for that. And like I said, you're gonna see us at these fights, man. You're gonna see 10 repping CBT in New York. You're gonna see me in Bama. You're gonna see Smooth Cat, Illinois, the whole, Midwest, man. So East Coast, Midwest, down south. Same with JG repping Midwest as well. I mean, East Coast, and we just gonna be everywhere, man. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, until next time, we are out. Peace.